Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Well, last stream I said that if it dropped below 62,000, I would be surprised. And this is my surprised face right here. This is it. This is what my face looked like as I watched it go down. Very surprised. All right, let's look at Bitcoin. Well, we started Bitcoin a lot on the 1 day in the week. Let's look at the month because I haven't done that in a few days at least, maybe a week or more. So on the month, we see this 1 to 9 run up, and then up here, and then our consolidation. If we fib that for the fun of it, we will see that we came real close to this 0.618, which is kind of a magic number. Let's do the trend-based. And we see it just overreached the 0.618 number. That's at 90,000 on the 1. Okay. All right. We reached another all-time high here. That's clear on the monthly. Could we have a whole month? Could the month of November be a 1 month pullback? Yeah. So let's look at the day. Let's get rid of this so that we're not confusing ourselves on the 1 day. Look at the 1 day. So I said that I would be shocked if we dropped under 62K. And we dropped under 62K. We are very easily well, I know I said that it could. I know that I said that it was a possibility, and that was the whole reason why I wanted to. I said that it was a possibility that it could pull back to 58K. I think I still said that I wouldn't sell Bitcoin at 58K, but I did say that you should really look at taking profit on as many altcoins as you could. And Monday afternoon, I did that, and I'm very glad that I did. What I'm worried about now is the rest of the month of November, believe it or not. Um, so on the day on Bitcoin, we have a 1-2 down, right? And our sell would have been at 63 or so, definitely by 62. Um, so now we're looking for a buy-in, right? And we have a really big bounce here. It's not our first bounce, but it is our first big bounce. We like to see these happen in 2s and 3s at least, right? Maybe 4s, but we're back at this 50 on the EMA. I would wonder if we're going to hold. And if we go down to the 4-hour, we start to see a little bit of decreasing momentum. On the 4-hour, we hit this 1, 2, 3, 9 pretty hard, right? And we're flat here on the 4-hour. We're flat AF. And according to the 4-hour, We've been flat for over 16 hours on the RSI. So I don't think I've ever seen Bitcoin in a bull market. I haven't seen this bull market. I have not seen Bitcoin flatline for more than 36 hours, 40 hours. Let's say 36 to 40 hours. Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering. So a big thing here, and this is what's got me wondering here is this line up here, because this was a preemptive line. I came up with this line, I think probably when it hit here, and it probably has a lot to do with the with some resistance on this all-time high back here. But I'm thinking this line belongs down here, which brings that line of support to 58. Now, if we go back to the 4 hour, this is what we got to worry about. We have a 9 telling us that we have more downside possible, which means that if we break this 58, there's nothing holding us until maybe 55, and then really 56, 51. So 56, 51. Now, hopefully people have saw this coming with the alts and took some profit. I'm actually a little bit crushed, but I'll explain that at the end. So right now, I'm going to be watching Bitcoin. Um, and I'm going to be watching it on the 4 hour. What I need is I need a reversal in the next 3 candles. I need a reversal to start in the next 3 candles. And it needs to be a fairly clean reversal too, which means that it's probably gonna need to jump, right? So it'll need to at least jump 2 candles, 2% in price. We've got 3 hours left on the day. Um, and I don't know what the magic thing is about the daily turn, but I suspect that in 3 hours, 3 hours and 13 minutes, we're going to see this pop a little bit, not much, and then there's a very good chance, I'd say a 60, 70% chance in my mind that we're going to go down to that 57,000 number that my friends were talking about Sunday night. So we'll see. And that might line up with the reversal. So if we go to the 1 hour, normally I wouldn't look at Bitcoin on the 1 hour, but we have already hit a 9. And that was an optimistic 9 too. And then it became very unoptimistic again. That could easily be another 5 hours down. Yeah. And that's why I feel like I have to move the 1 day down, is because I think I got this, and I was a little, I'll admit, I jumped the gun on placing this line, but I think that maybe this might be where that is. And let me see if that actually lines up anywhere back in the day, right? And it sort of does. Sort of does and it sort of doesn't. But I think we might be done looking at the previous peaks for our resistance lines. So maybe right there. And just to wonder, from here to here, it's 9%. From here to here is 18%. So keep that in mind. So yeah, this is where I want it to go back up before here. That's what I want it to do. Um, yeah. And then all of the alts, right? I mean, boy, yeah, all of the alts, everything is down. So vet, yeah, I mean, even here would have been a good sell on vet, and that would have been a couple days ago. Yeah, that's not clean, but that's fairly clean. So, I mean, I should have sold everything that I had in Uniswap there. That was my big mistake. Actually, yeah, that was my big mistake. I should have sold everything I should have sold all my uni at 24. But I believe in the bull market. I have some cash out now. I have no Bitcoin to trade. All my Bitcoin is in cold storage. And if it drops any lower, I will probably take half of my cash, buy the Bitcoin dip, and then take that and cold store it, which brings me into the one thing that I wanted to talk about as quick as I can, and that is going to be different crypto strategies. So I had a conversation today with a good gentleman that he's into crypto, and it's a very confusing space for him. And I see this a lot with a lot of people is what's the strategy? Should you be trading? Should you not be trading? Should you be hodling? Should you be cost averaging? What is the value in one towards the other? And everybody wants to know, how do you make the most money? And um, when you're buying and selling crypto, there's this broad spectrum, right? And so you have your hodlers here all the way at one side of the spectrum, and basically everybody should have heard this a million times, right? It's hold on to dear life. It's you buy it and you hold it. You don't sell it, you don't look at it, you put it away and you forget about it. And then hopefully 4 years when people are talking about it, you'll look at it and you'll have more money, right? And that's hodling. And that's a serious strategy. And that's, you want to buy at the bottom and sell at the top many, many years later. And that's time in market. That's where you make your money, is all of your time in market. So you go one shade over to that, and that's swing trade the bull runs, right? And the bear runs. So you're constantly looking for that bull run market. So you'll buy into Bitcoin, you'll be into Bitcoin for 2 to 3 years, then you'll sell your Bitcoin once it's hit its high, and you'll buy somewhere down at the bottom, and you'll just keep doing that each cycle. And that will make you more money than hodling, just doing that. And that involves uh, your buy, your sell after maybe 2.5 years, and then your buy again, right? So you're talking about three trades in about 4 years that you're making, and it becomes very simple on when you're going to sell and when you're going to buy. But you have to pay attention, or else you will go a whole year without thinking about Bitcoin and you will miss the bottom. Uh, I do not plan on missing the bottom at all this year. I did not miss the bottom last year, or 2018, 2019, whenever the hell that bottom was, at 3,600. I am not missing the bottom again this year. I can tell you that. Um, Then you have your cost averaging, where you are buying once a month, $200, no matter what the price is. And if we look at Bitcoin and you were to buy today, right? At $60,000, if you believe like I believe that that Bitcoin will probably be above a million in 10 years, right? I mean, that's probably above a million in 10 years. I don't think that's crazy talk. Um, $50,000 and is going to be $600,000 in 5 years. It's going to be $600,000 in 6 years. It's going to be $600,000 someday soon. So if you buy now, that $200 will be 10 times. And you buy when it's going down, you buy when it's going up, and it's a good way to not think about Bitcoin at all, right? Because if you're hodling, you don't want to buy at the bottom at the top, and then for 2 years you're stressing, right? You're stressing for 2 years because Bitcoin is just going down for 2 years. And all of a sudden, all those pizzas that you could have bought are now turning into are now turning into peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, right? So that's the thing. Is there's a psychological game there that you need to master. You need to get your head wrapped around. If you're going to hodl and you're going to buy at the bottom and you're going to wait for the bottom, then you need to start building up your money for that large buy. If you're going to cost average, then just set it up and do it. If you're going to trade the large swings, then you need to make sure that you're in tune to Bitcoin somehow all the time because that bottom will be around for maybe a week and then it will never be there again. And you need to be tuned in enough to know that. We're still not even halfway across the spectrum now. We're still into the buying and selling and holding and the different strategies for buying and selling and holding. Now we get into the trading right in the middle, right? And here you have basically all kinds of things, right? You can try and trade the swings. You can try and trade the fib, and that works out pretty well, believe it or not, once you get used to it and you get a feel for the market that you're in. Um, and you are buying and selling. Now, the complexity here is the obvious of taxes, especially if you're in the United States, right? So you have to be aware of when you're making those big gains and make sure that you have enough pulled aside to pay those taxes. The other thing about it is fees. If you're trading, you need to compare fees of the different platforms that you can trade on. Americans can't trade on all the platforms, so we are limited and we have to be very conscious because some have very high fees, like Coinbase has a very high fee, some hidden fees, and Binance has very low fees, and you can get those fees even lower through using a Binance token. I think it's the same thing with FTX, right? Um, and this is just straight trading. And if you're gonna the entry level of trading is you're gonna buy a crypto and at a low price, and then you're gonna sell that cryptocurrency for cash, for whatever your fiat currency is. And that's going to be your first entry level into trading. And to be honest with you, I stayed in that area of trading for 2, 3 years. That's all I did. I didn't short anything. I didn't do anything like that. I would buy at a low, I would then try and sell at a high, and then I would let it go lower, buy at that low, then sell at that next low high, if you know what I mean, and then let it go even lower, and do that all the way down to the bottom. Um, that'll make you a sharp trader. And if you're in cash and it's still in a bear market, you're gonna get more satoshis. You can make mistakes on the way from all the way up here to all the way down here. You can make mistakes and still get more satoshis doing that. And that's my kind of fun thing to do. I like to only do that on the way down. So in a bull market, I'm expecting everything to go up. I don't have to do anything. If I get in at a low enough price in the very beginning and I build up my portfolio towards the end, the trading doesn't really matter anymore. I've made my money. So, I mean, if we look at Bitcoin on the week, right? And I'll show people this, and sometimes they'll be flabbergasted, but if people have been around, they know this is true. If we go to this top and we go down 80%, that's $13,000. And that is a real possibility of where this market will be 2 years from now, is somewhere down around 20 to $13,000. And that's very, very realistic. And you have to keep that in mind. So 70% would be 20,000 and 80% would be 14,000, let's say. And that is where I would expect it to go, right? Um, so we still haven't really gotten to the middle. Well, then you start getting into trading strategies where you're actually shorting. You're actually betting cash that it will go down. And at this point, you're at an advanced point of trading, right? You should be using proper portfolio management. All of your trades should be less than 2% of your total portfolio, and you should be heavily invested in stop losses. You should always be in stop losses. You should always be setting your stop loss to your break even if you're going to be shorting or longing like that. Um, you need to be disciplined. That's why I don't do it. I'm not disciplined. I'm easy. I'm relaxed about this stuff. There's also a level of stress. So as you go from one side of the spectrum all the way to the other side of the spectrum, your stress, your ability to cope with this stuff mentally in your head is going to be harder and harder. It'll affect the way you eat, it'll affect the way you sleep, it'll affect relationships with everybody but your dog if you let that happen. And this is, you have to have balance in all things. If you're pouring all your energy into this, you need to find something else to that you can pour as much energy into easily and figure out what that is. But so now you've progressed from just trading the longs to betting the shorts, right? And the next step, which brings you over here into the real danger zone, this is the longing. This is using the like leverage trading on longs and shorts. You're betting three times what you're placing as your trade, that this will go up or this will go down. Now, at this point, if you are using anything more than 1% of your portfolio, you are a madman. You are either the greatest trader in the world or you are a madman. Um, and then there's three times leverage. So I had somebody call me and say, I took out a loan on my house. I got $35,000 cash. I put it into the crypto market. I was doing really good. I decided I would start trading some of it. And I decided then that the where this guy was trading, he could leverage. He said, I took your advice and I only, I spread of course, you, when you take somebody's advice, do you really take their advice or do you hear the advice you want to hear and then screw it all up and go your own way? Because that's what this guy did. My advice was that you never use more than 2%, right? And then you spread that out. Well, what he heard was you spread that out. So he spread it out a bunch, about a dozen coins, leveraged everything, and got liquidated. He started off with $35,000. He got up to like $120,000 and then liquidated. So it happens. It happens a lot. And don't do it. If you're not over here, then don't be over here. Don't be leveraging. Look at your safer strategies. Hodling, just buying whenever you see dips and holding forever, is your safest strategy, especially if you're not buying shit coins. Swing trading on the full swing of the bull and the bear market is a good strategy. You will make a lot of money and you will be very happy, you will be very stress free, but you need to watch it. You get into trading, and if you can't sleep at night, you need to sell everything you got. I don't know what to say. And you need to only trade when you're awake. Day traders lose their hair. Day traders invest a lot more time than just 30 minutes in the morning day trading. I've never met a successful day trader that wasn't at it 10 hours, 12 hours a day, right? I just haven't seen it. They're wired into what they need to be wired into 24 hours a day if possible. Um, so 3 bar trades and stuff like that is all nonsense. This is why you need to learn to trade and you need to ease your way into it, right? You need to go and find a good method that you can paper trade and you can work things out and get your head where it needs to be in the game. Because if you can't sleep, it's probably because you're not running enough stop limits on things. If the market goes down like this and you are freaking out and you are mad and you are looking at that dollar value, then you're not setting your stop limits when you need to. And then people get mad at stop limits. Listen, it's better to get stopped out and then buy back in at a higher price or wait for the next dip at a higher price than it is just to go to zero. I don't think anything that I have on this board is going to go to zero, right? And I don't think we're out of the bull market at all. I think this is, if you ask me, this is Bitcoin going after the leveraged longs, right? Everybody saw this. We saw everybody who's leveraging that doesn't know what they're doing. They saw this run up on the weekly. They saw the daily, and they said, look at it over here. We're just going up, and they got bumped out. I would bet that a lot of leveraged money got taken in the last 2 days, last day, like today actually, right? I mean, we look at this on the hour, and yeah, I would guess that this is more than enough to suck out some leveraged money, right? Um, and people are not good traders. Um, and I'm gonna pull up Paint. I know, MS Paint. I'm so professional. But I'm going to pull up MS Paint here. Let me add MS Paint. And that did not do what I wanted it to do. All right, let's do. All right, we got MS Paint up, right? You should be able to see that. So let's go over to MS Paint. I'm going to draw a very crude drawing here. I want to make it I want to make this line big enough for you to see it. All right. What will happen with traders is they will buy and they will see some profits and they'll see some profits and then they'll run into leveraging and they'll start seeing profits and they'll start seeing profits and then all of a sudden they will lose more than they put in. And you see this all the time, right? And this is what's called the confidence curve, right? So what's the confidence curve? Imagine you're a martial artist and you go into the dojo for the very first time and uh, you have a white belt and you practice for 6 months and you get your yellow belt and you practice for another 6 months and you get your orange belt and all of a sudden you're at a party You've got your orange belt. Of course, you're not wearing it at the party, but some guy who's not even bigger than you get into a fight with them and you get your ass handed to you. And what that is that's the confidence curve. You're a white belt, you're a white belt, you're an orange belt, or you're a yellow belt, and then you get to orange and your confidence jumps all the way up because now you can punch, now you can kick, now you can block, and then you get your ass handed to you by someone who doesn't even know how to punch, kick, or block. They just know how, they just get the shit kicked out of them by their dad or something all the time, right? And your confidence completely drops. So, and this is what happens is boom, you get tagged hard and you lose all your money. This is going to happen to you in all aspects of your life. You're going to get overconfident, you're going to get beaten down. It what's important is to look back, see what you did wrong and not get overconfident, not get over cocky. So, I think maybe I got overconfident yesterday morning. I'm glad I wasn't too confident because I did pull out, but that's it. That's the whole thing. Let me get rid of this. And we have completely lost. What are you what are you doing? So I completely lost everything. But that's it. Um, I may be back on fairly shortly. Hopefully there's going to be a turnaround, and then if there's a turnaround, then I will be buying back in. And on the hour, we're 10 minutes into this candle, and look at that jump. So, do we like big candles in the beginning? Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It all depends on what that 2 and 3 looks like. So, hopefully, we're going to start reaching back up to the EMA as we speak right now. Did that not make any sense? I'll review what I said about um I'll see if it made any sense. Sometimes I do prattle on a little bit. But okay. Have a good day. Have a good evening. And I will talk with you guys later.